Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe and it's called Almás Lepény apple pie. What you will need for this recipe is 5 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, rind of 2 medium lemons, 2 cups of butter, 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening, 1 cup sugar, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, 3 whole eggs, and 2 to 6 tablespoons of milk. Now the milk is something that you would add to the dough if the consistency wasn't right. So if it's right, you don't probably need more than two tablespoons of it. So this is the dough recipe. And then for the topping, you need 10 to 12 medium apples, juice and rind of 1 lemon, 1 cup brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then for the sprinkle, like to sprinkle on top of the dessert when you've taken it out of the oven and you let it cool for a bit, 4 grams of vanilla sugar, so just a small package of vanilla sugar, and 1 tablespoon of powdered icing sugar, and then you would mix that together and then sprinkle it on top of your apple pie. So what I've done first is I've mixed together flour, baking powder, salt, and grated rind of 1 lemon. So that's the flour mixture. And then what I've done is I've, with an electric hand mixer, I've combined and mixed together butter, shortening, sugar, vanilla, 3 whole eggs, and grated rind of 1 lemon. So this is what the this mixture looks like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start spooning in, or measuring in flour, and then I'm going to start mixing the dough mixture together with a wooden spoon first. So I'm going to do that first, and I'm going to mix that in, the flour in together with the butter and all the other ingredients that I mentioned as the next step. And then I'm going to keep continuing to do that until the dough gets to a consistency where I can put my hands in there and I can start kneading the dough. Now it's really important that you remember not to over knead the dough because you don't want the dough to be hard for this apple pie recipe. So I'm going to keep doing that until I get a consistency where I can actually start kneading it gently. So I will be back to show you what the actual dough looks like and the consistency of it, and then I'm going to show you how I put together the apple topping. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I just completed putting together the dough, and I'm going to show you what the dough consistency looks like, and I'm going to show you what I did with one of the pieces. So I mentioned that what I did was I took the dough and made 2 mounds out of them, equal mounds. So because you're going to need one for the crust and you're going to need one for the top of the covering for the apple pie. So I'm going to show you what I did with one of the pieces of dough. I just put it on a cookie sheet for the time being, so it's just easier for me to show you what the dough actually looks like. So I've sort of cut out a rectangular shape the size of my heat-resistant dish, and on the back you can see that there's parchment paper. So I've rolled it onto the parchment paper. This is great to use when you're rolling out dough and you're doing it for a crust, like for a rectangular shape. You can actually cut it out in a circular shape if you want to make a round pie, but this one is a rectangular shaped pie. And so I've already rolled out the crust, so I'm just going to show you what I've done with the bottom crust. So I've already put that in there. So what I do is I take, just to show you, like I showed you with the first piece, I roll it on the parchment paper and then I turn it over and then I peel it off. I peel the dough off, and then I place it into the dish. Then of course I sort of like pinched it with my thumb just to give it sort of a nicer, sort of like a look to the edges. And then what I'm going to show you now is how to do the filling. So I'll just put that aside and I'll show you what I did with the filling. I'm just going to move this over here. And what I did was I peeled and grated, and I removed the core from the apple, and then I, of course, this is the consistency of the when the apple is grated. So, and then what I did was I put 1 cup of brown sugar and the juice of one lemon, and then of course I grated some lemon rind of the same lemon and placed that into the apple topping mixture. So, and then of course I added 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, just to make it, when it's baking in the oven, it's going to have a thicker consistency, so it's not going to be watery. So basically that's what the mixture is basically made of. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to evenly spread this in a Pyrex heating dish, heat resistant dish. And I'm going to just spoon in the apple filling. So I'm just going to do that and spread that evenly on the bottom of the apple pie recipe. Now this was a very popular recipe with my mother and grandmother. So when there was apple season, they'd pick the apples fresh from the tree, and basically it was a whole family kind of a project. Everybody would help to chip in because there's a lot of work involved with grating and peeling the apples and taking the cores out. So that's, you could use actually a handheld grater, or if you have an electric one, that's even better. That makes the job a little bit more easier. So I just continue to spoon all of this apple filling onto the just going to move this over, and I'm going to continue to show you this. And it's important that you when you take it out of the oven, that it's cooled down to a warm temperature, and then you can start cutting you can actually cutting the slices that you want of it. And then of course I sprinkle it with some vanilla and powdered sugar. But I'm going to show you what this great recipe looks like once it's in the oven. So I'm going to take that top layer, and I'm going to put it on the top of the apple pie to give it a covering, and then I'm going to cut 5 to 6 small slits across the top of the pie, so that the air gets into it. So it just cooks better that way, and it's the top of the pie won't crack open, so it's going to give it a lot of air inside of the pie for it to cook evenly. And then what I do is I preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I bake it for approximately 25 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I lower the temperature to about 325 degrees Fahrenheit and bake it for an additional 20 minutes. Okay, you might want to check around probably about 40 minutes and see if it's well done. You might have to add an additional 5 minutes to it to get it to bake well. So just check it, and then bring it out of the oven, and then cool it down, and then it becomes a great recipe. You can serve it with your favorite coffee or tea, and it can be an after dinner dessert. You might want to wait a couple of hours for that because it's very filling. This recipe can also be frozen for probably about 3 to 4 weeks. You could freeze it, take it out of the freezer, and then let it thaw out, and then you can warm it up in the oven. So it is also, you can actually freeze this recipe too for a couple of weeks. And it's always good to have extra dessert if you have some unexpected company coming and you want to make a nice big pot of coffee or some nice herbal tea to go with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what this wonderful recipe looks like coming out of the oven. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I had a recipe called apple pie Almás Lepény in the oven for approximately 50 minutes. And what I'd like to do is show you what this great recipe looks like coming out of the oven. So what I've done is I've cut up some pieces so that you can actually see the filling. So you can actually see the apple mixture there. It's got brown sugar and corn starch and the juice of one lemon and the rind of one lemon. So that's basically what you would use as a mixture. And so it has a topping, a covering for the apple pie, and it's got a sort of like a crust on the bottom. So, and it smells just fantastic coming out of the oven. You can smell the vanilla and the lemons and brown sugar. So it just smells just great. So what I'd like to do is show you what it looks like on a small serving plate. So what I've done is I've sprinkled a little bit of icing sugar on the top of it. So if you see the little sprinkle of sort of like powdered icing sugar with vanilla sugar, and I bought some packets of vanilla flavored sugar. So this is what I would sprinkle on it before serving it, and it's great served. It could be served cold, it could be served warm. You could put ice cream on it if you want, but it's great on its own, and you serve it with your favorite coffee or tea. And so that's what my husband and I are going to have as dessert. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at Irene@arinkaskitchen.com or arinkaskitchen.com. On my website, if you want a copy of the recipe, you right-click on my recipe and then go to print, and then you can print off a copy of my recipe if you need it, alongside with my video. So I hope you enjoy serving this great dessert to your family and friends. Until next time, bon appetit, jo eet vaadjat.